Welcome back on Diamond. Today I want to propose you a video about how to paint the Leviathan scheme of color for the project of Shadow Ball that I'm creating a bit of videos about. So this is the final result that we can see, and we'll go to see in this video about how realize this and also some other details about my inspiration about such type of scheme of colors. So now we can go to see what I've done. About the model that I used, they comes for this designs from the Gen Stealers ones from the Space Hulk set box. So these are really peculiar Gen Stealers, but I love them, so I decided to modify and paint them because I fall in love for them, so we can begin to see a bit better the Tyranids. Here we can see the Tyranids in sprue. So I have a lot of them to play with because I have two of these set box, so a bit of Tyranids, but they are really quite amazing ones, and if we go to see them in details we can see that they are in really interesting positions. Once there would have been problems about to put them on playing because they were on 25mm basis, but now they are on 32mm basis, so it's easier, and now I can start to try to use different concepts of models of modifying to use and paint them. And about the scheme of color, I decided to use the one that comes from the Leviathan represented on the books coming from the campaign of Shadow Ball of the Games Workshop, that is composed by the books of Leviathan, Tempestus and Exterminatus. I loved such books, so I decided to use them as a referring about my scheme of color for the Leviathan. So nice. And the first step is to put the primer on the miniature, and in this case I decided to put the black primer because I like to start from the black for my scheme of colors. And in this video you see different miniatures for the different passages for this scheme of colors, because I painted different miniatures for such project that I bring in this project itself, so you can see a bit of anticipation about what you see, even if there will be a lot of interesting tricks and so on about them, so at least you can have an idea. But anyway, I loved to modify such miniatures. Then we take the Rocket Flash that will be the real base for such a scheme of color that will go on the publish after. So I needed a color that it was not too bright and not too dark, and this is the perfect in my opinion. And we do the brush on all the skin for such model. Eventually you can do twice, so that you can do the first step and then you can do another step. It's up to you decide how much bright you want that this skin is. So I like to have a light skin, but not so bright, a bit dark. Then I can have the lighting on such a scheme of color. So it was my option about this, and I liked a lot the results, so that you have and you can see that you can really have a nice interesting results. And then I taken the violet of the scale color 75, the number 56 as color, to paint the part of the armor, so the part of the back shell, the tail, and the part about the head, because there are the lines on the head of the Generaptor, and I wanted to have a sort of little armor also on them. And so I use this as the base color to then highlight for such shell armor, because I wanted something that it was a bit dark but to highlight a bit, and I found this color perfect for such reason for my scheme of color about the Leviathan itself. And then I used the Druky Violet of the Citadel to realize the shadowing of such model, because I wanted that violet one that it was to make the base, and I used this to paint all the model, so not exaggerate as one, so not make it too thick as shadowing, but it's perfect to realize that way to have that violet purplish color on the skin and so on, and also to make darker the parts about the shell. So it was perfect to put on all the model this shadowing. And then I use again the rocket flash to make another dye brush. In this case you have to be paying a bit more attention about the dye brush, because you need to make a dye brush that anyway keep the under violet one under, so that you can in some way see a bit of the violet on such models. So you can make twice the brush, so weight or even more, but you need to keep that the brush is I can say clean, so that it's in the right position, and keep this underlight about violet, so not exaggerate about the brush, because you need anyway to make in some way have a sort of transparency of the violet under. Then I taken the violet and the sunset purple, so the number 56 and 33rd of the scale 75 colors, and I used a mix of them. So I created a completely new color to use for my scheme, because I needed something that it was in the middle, so had the darker one, then this color in the mix, and then highlight then the armour on with the sunset purple. So I have a mix of the two colors together. So here you had to pay a bit of attention so that you can put this on the line of the shell, on the upper part and so on, so you can highlight it. It's up to you to decide how much you want to highlight the different parts. You only have to pay attention to put it on all the parts of the armor that you are interested with. Then I taken again the sunset purple as I said to make the highlight, so put on the edge of the different lines of the model, so that I have this progression of violet that keeps the same color but at the same time can play with the light, and it's something that you can even improve step by step. It's up to you to decide when to stop about such effect. And I remember that you had to paint all the rest of the model that you have. And about the red, I want to remember you that in the description you can find the link about my way to paint the red armor that can be useful. And about finesse, it's up to you to decide the scheme of color that you want, because in this case, for example, I wanted something it was more bright, so that can create a contrast with a darker color of the general itself. But it's up to you decide the environment that you want that Genoraptor is inside. So you have to decide how much you want and how you want that the lights are about around this model. Then I take the sun yellow of the Vallejo to paint the eyes. In this case you have to pay attention, so use a brush with a small tip, or at least a really thin tip, so that you can paint it. Use multiple times, take a bit of color each time, and step by step paint a little till you reach the graduation that you want. You have to be calm during this part, because the eyes are something that you can even not notice, but they can notice you. And I remember that you can always correct your mistakes, so you can take again a thin tip brush and put highlights or color a little about the edge of the eye, so that you can correct if you made a bit of mistake putting the color on or in other parts of the model itself. So don't worry about eventual mistake, you can correct them. And then had to paint the tongue, so I taken the Cadian flesh tone of the Citadel, and I painted the tongue step by step using little. You can decide how much heavy you want that the color is. I decided to use a bit watered color and use really small dot of colors on all the tongue. You pay attention to enter in the deep of the tongue itself so that I can see. And it's up to you decide how much put. I taken again the Turkey Violet to blend the tongue to the rest of the model. So put it paying attention, because in this case you have to adjust the amount of color so that it's less to the tip of the tongue and deeper toward the throat, because it's the shadowing of the tongue itself, and you can realize a really nice light effect. And here we can see one of the model at the partial ending. We can again make some adjustments of details, and here we can find that everything is in the position, so we can understand if it means something based on the light that we want to give to the model. Then I taken again the violet of the scale 75 to paint the nails of the claws of the generator, because I needed something that linked the harder part of the model, so the shell, the armor of the model, and having it claimed back on the nails, so that it was perfect suited about the Leviathan schema color. Then it's up to you decide how to highlight, because you can, for example, use the turkey violet or the sun purple or so on to make the light or the shadowing. It's up to you decide where you want the light comes on your model, so it's not something fixed. It's up to you decide how you want to paint then the light and shadowing of such part of the nails, because they can have a bit of deathly glow. Then you can finish with highlight, a bit more of the brush on the skin if you need a bit more color, but this is the schema color for my Leviathan shard for the Shadow Ball project, and I love such effect because it's a bit dirty but at the same time has that bit of light that can make you seen and not seen in the dark. I really like this blending for such type of tirades, and I hope that you like too. Anyway, from Dynamod it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.